And I know what they are going through. To me, it was a form of mass intimidation, and I can't go along with it. I think that it was clearly shown down here today that there was a wedge driven between the police department. The police department was divided, and I think that the chief needs to try to do something to bring the police department together rather than to divide.
You don't think this investigation or any of this is a good idea at all?
Why would you investigate people for sins that, according to them, sins that they have committed years past or what have you? This is a sham as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you, Councilman Henry Fickling. And here, Mayor Israel spoke hotly about the new developments, of course, to fill you in. Officer Greg Gress, a Macon police officer, told that he had seen gambling. He had seen gambling, and now I understand we are going to go to the anchor desk with Chuck England.
Well, it all started earlier this morning as a police officer stepped out of the crowd with information on gambling at the FOP Lodge.
And of course, as you just saw, it's causing a lot of reactions in Macon City Hall. We'll have more for you up next on Eyewitness News. Please stay with us.
Stay tuned. Middle Georgia's first choice in news is next. Now, Chuck England and Tina Hicks, Frank Malloy on sports, and weatherman Bill Powell. This is 13 Eyewitness News.
And good evening. We're glad you could join us. A Pandora's box has been opened on the steps of Macon City Hall
That's right, Tina. The story of accusations of gambling by Macon police officers has been broken wide open today. A Macon police officer earlier today revealed what he knew about officers playing cards and throwing dice at the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge in August. Right now, Macon City administrators, police department members, and city council members are just concluding their meeting at City Hall. And there were new developments which surfaced later on this afternoon, and Ellen Maynard is here to recap what she saw and heard. Ellen.
Well, Chuck, it's been a quick and interesting 40 minutes down here. We have been running this live, but let me recap some of the things that have been going on here. First of all, Mayor George Israel and Police Chief Jim Brooks entered the crowded council chambers, crowded with Macon City police officers, told to come here to hear what's going on. They got a big round of applause, and Mayor George Israel went on to say there is a higher standard for Macon police officers than they are for the public because police officers have the public trust. Then he went on to say that it's strange that Officer Guesses, the man who revealed that he had been at the police lodge, seen Police Chief Jim Brooks see gambling. He said he didn't give much credit to the officer, and it didn't sound like anybody's really believing him in the city administration. But Israel went on to pass out forms to Macon police officers, and that said, really, basically, bare your soul to us. If you have anything that you've done wrong since you've been on the force, then write it down there, because if you don't, there's going to be heck to pay. Let me paraphrase what he said. Then Police Chief Jim Brooks had his turn. He spoke, saying that he is angry over what was going on, and that he thought that he was there's a conspiracy against him, and that there would be investigation on Tuesday. Elaine Lucas, Councilwoman Elaine Lucas, with us here live. Elaine, what was your reaction to this here today?
I was just very, very disappointed that the mayor and the administration would pull a stunt like this. What's happening is that you have the entire police department being expected to share the blame for what a certain group of police officers were guilty of. And I think they felt it was very, very unfair, and I certainly feel like it was unfair. I'm just ashamed of a situation developing like that, where you have people hauled in here, they're a captive audience, and then you have a person, you're standing there criticizing a person who's in the room. I think that all of that was very, very unfair. I think it was very juvenile and just a discredit to the entire city. I'm ashamed of this particular situation.
Thank you very much, Macon City Councilwoman Elaine Lucas, and we will now go back to the anchor desk.
And there are sharp divisions in the city of Macon tonight.
Okay, thank you, Ellen. Well, it was a Macon police traffic officer who said he feels he was going way out on a limb, but says he feels the truth must be known about gambling at the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge. David Price has been following the story. He's our assignment editor on Officer Greg Guest for the past couple of days. What's new, David?
Tina, Greg Guest held a news conference today, and he said that he feels that he may be out on a limb now all by himself.
Well, what does he feel would be his line of defense?
Well, he has no line of defense. He's simply saying what he feels to be the truth. And as we see now at his news conference, he said he feels sort of alone.
Okay, other than that, David, are there other officers in the department that fear for their lives at this point, that have been receiving threats? Could that be proven? Or?
That, according to guests, that there are some who do feel that way, but I think we can see more if we look at this story from the news conference today.
Okay.
I'm one officer against the entire administration at this point. Everything that I said goes against everything that they have said on record.
Guest, a 3-year police veteran, came forward today and told the media what he saw going on at the FOP Lodge August 21st. Something he also says he told Chief Jim Brooks during an internal investigation weeks ago. And just what did he see at the dinner for traffic officers that night?
But on this particular night, the games were being played in broad view in the main dining area on 2 different tables where they were playing cards, and on 1 table where they were throwing dice. At the time that we arrived, the games were in pretty much full swing. I later learned that, you know, these games went well on into the night.
Chief Brooks has denied that he saw any gambling that night, but guests today said...
Oh, yeah, he saw it. Now, I'm on record now as saying that at this particular table, I did see money on the table. I did see cards on the table. I did not see anybody holding cards. I saw them dealing them out. I didn't see money changing hands, but this is where one of the tables were set up where they were playing cards. And Chief Brooks did walk up to this table and make several comments to the people that were playing there.
Were they serious comments, joking comments, or what?
Joking comments.
And Guest says he finally decided to come forward in this case because he was tired of what he called lies, and
it had been made known to me that people have been threatened to keep their mouths shut. And then when I received my one phone call to keep my mouth shut, I said, that's it. It's over with. I've got to do something now.
Is that why? If you didn't keep your mouth shut, what would you do? What happened?
I'd be dead.
So, David, what are the primary points here?
Well, Officer Guest had 3 primary points that he made. One was that he said he didn't want to be intimidated and be lied to. Number 2, Officer Guest said that he didn't want to see a cover-up. And number 3, he said he was tired of being threatened, the threat of death.
Okay. Thank you very much, David. Chuck.
Well, now in the aftermath of the new development on the police gambling allegations, City Council may end up sorting through the entire affair again. And as Laverne Knight reports tonight, at least one councilperson thinks that Chief Brooks should resign.
Woman Thelma Dillard says she's on course to file for a federal investigation into the police gambling activities that Macon Police Officer Greg Guest described to the press today.
I really don't know what their steps are because I haven't been able to get anybody to do anything. I know what my step is. I don't know what theirs are. I can't speak for them, but I can speak for myself.
What's your step?
I'm going to still continue to do what I started out doing. That's FBI investigation, not FBI, federal investigation.
Dillard has been in touch with Guest since last week, and she says she's glad he went public with his statement. Now she says that because of this new development, Macon Police Chief Jim Brooks should resign.
It spells out what I have been trying to show all along to council and to everyone else involved, that there was a cloud of doubt hanging over the city of Macon. And I do not think that with the recent development that our chief should remain the chief of Macon Police Department.
Are you in effect calling for his resignation?
I think council should call for the resignation of the chief of police.
And so Dillard says she believes that in this instance, everyone from the line officers on up should be punished for their involvement in the gambling. But one thing is certain, tonight's meeting will bring out some concerned citizens who say they want answers. Laverne Knight, Channel 13 Eyewitness News.
Last month. And what you're about to hear is a statement by Macon Police Lieutenant Guyton Carr that he made to Jones County Investigator Bill Malcott. The audio tape is what Carr said Assistant Macon Police Chief Charlie Bishop told him about the alleged gambling activities.
He asked me what I wanted done about it, and I told him that I wanted the gambling stopped. At first, he told me that it was being done outside our jurisdiction, and he was not sure if he could stop it. He told me that he would not tell me to not report what I had heard, but that if I did, it would be embarrassing to the police department and the city of Macon. Also, during our conversation, Chief Bishop admitted playing cards, but denied losing $2,000, and finally denied losing anything.
Also released from Jones County was a list of those invited and
Coming up next on the News 24 Late Report, Mayor Israel is questioning members of the Macon Police Department, telling anyone with information about police misconduct to speak out.
While the Carl Vinson Memorial continues to be a controversial issue.
Lynn Walker has all the local high school football action.
And Rebecca says it looks like a sunny weekend.
Those stories and more next on the News 24 Late Report.
WGXA-TV, Macon, Middle Georgia's news leader. This is the Late Report with News 24's Jim Brown and Liz Jarvis, meteorologist Rebecca Irwin, and sports with Glenn Walker.
Good evening. The controversy surrounding the Macon Police Department continues tonight.
This time, the mayor has gotten involved, and another investigation will begin next week. News 24's Kyle Jackson has details.
Before the entire Macon Police Department and the media, a very solemn Mayor George Israel informed his public servants that the badge has been tarnished by the allegations made by fellow policemen.
There have been times that our conduct has not exactly been a credit to the badge we wear, the position that we hold. There's an awful lot of folks in this town who've got an awful lot of faith in you men and women in this room right now.
In hopes of bringing everything out in the open, the mayor is requiring every member of the force to fill out a questionnaire asking if he has been negligent in his duties, or acted disgracefully, or been unwilling to conform to departmental standards. The mayor wants an answer from every officer by Tuesday, when another police investigation will begin. Chief Jim Brooks was applauded by his officers for his frankness toward such officers as Greg Guest, who made accusations against him, and also the city council members involved.
I believe that I have been slandered on several occasions, and I now believe that it is time to put any contradictions to rest, and that's exactly what I intend to do. This handful of malcontents who did not attend or attempt in any way to do any more than bring discredit on me and disgrace on me and the department. While Captain Adams has been considered for chief on at least 2 other occasions, he may in fact see this as an opportunity to dislodge the present chief. This is not going to happen. Councilperson Dolores Brooks and Gerald Harvey, they had no confidence whatsoever in the mayor of the city of Macon or the chief administrative officer, even to the point that they believed that I was intimately involved.
After the press conference, the city council members had their say-so on the issue.
Tonight's meeting was an effort to intimidate police officers who might come forward. It was an effort to intimidate council members who have taken a stand and stood up. It's an effort to discredit other council members, and it's another effort that I feel that could be the cover-up of the whole entire thing. There was a certain group of people who were involved in the illegal activity, and I think it's unfair for the entire police department to be dragged in here.
I think you really totally treated me unfair when I told you, in fact, looking right in your eyes like I'm looking today, that I heard that you were there at the lodge.
Cal Jackson, News 24.